or good evening, I should say. This is my making sure everything's working here. This is an impromptu stream. It's a risk neutral trading. Let's see if we've got a live one up here. Yeah, I think so. Okay. This is basically a homework, just doing some work around the investigation with the ORB for the Asian session, which is opening range breakout. My the point of the stream is that I have a commitment to never take any trade off of the stream, live stream. So the typical live stream every day is 8 o'clock in the morning until 1500 in the afternoon, which is the complete RTH cash market. But if I'm going to do something like this in the evening and investigate whether there's some interest or I have some possibilities on the Asian orbs, for example, I would want to be able to take a trade, and I wouldn't be able to do so if I were not streaming. So that's the reason for this entire exercise here. I have no idea how long it'll go. Probably not until about, 2 hours or so. Got to wait for the 1 hour for the orb to set, and then that's why we're a little bit ahead here, so I can get myself organized up and configured. This stream is the only trades I take on the stream are live, real time, and but it's not for trade or financial advice. And there's a disclaimer in the description. Please read that. But it wouldn't be much of a virtual trading journal if I didn't trade. So there you go. The idea here is that what is the graphics that are captured on my, or the video captured on my two primary monitors are continuous and provide a complete record. And then my voice here, my narration provides insight as to what I was thinking, which completes the recording and the journal. That's how it works. So far, this is, by the way, the 30th of July, 2026. Here's the first print at 1700, and this is what we've done so far. So it's just continually grinding higher. Would have been a nice long, wouldn't it? Just get long down there and be all fat, dumb, and happy up here for about 20 handles or so. Okay, let's see. It's 1848 Central. All times on my charts or that I refer to here are Central Standard Time. And I stream the entire monitor, so you can always look at any open programs here at the bottom. And you can see the system clock and time, hours, minutes, seconds, and the date, and then tie that back to Bookmap for confirmation and transparency and accountability. Okay, this is IRT, which is my basic charting package, and this is Bookmap, which is where I trade. I develop strategies, back test them, forward test them here with IRT. And let me just show you something about that. This is an example of a initial balance strategy. I just restarted this, so there we go. The charts here are just for visualization. They're not part of the system. However, the results of the trading system are pushed to the chart. So that way I can tell if it's happening where and when I think it should. The system trades this automatically, and it trades within the simulated environment in IRT, because obviously I'm not planning to be have a testing situation be going live. Now this is the this will change here pretty quick at 1900, and these zones will push across. You'll see them over here. These zones will be over here on IRT, on Bookmap, and I will be looking to trade. The way it works is that, again, this trades in the simulated environment for testing, for forward testing, or back testing is done here. But if I want to test something out, I replicate the trade when the signal's fired on IRT. I replicate it over here. There we go. Another 10 minutes until that starts. So let's have a look at what's going on here. Okay. One of the trades I've been working with is a real short. It's an opening range. Basically, it's an opening range trade, but it's a real short time frame. So I'm not real sure what to think about the brackets here because I have the bracket set for 24 ticks. Boom. 3 lots, 24 ticks. T1, T2. Maybe I'll go to a smaller one. I haven't tested this part out on this particular session. That's why I'm kind of hemming and hawing here. And as I said, this is just a this is a test. This is just a test. Why it's saying the thing doesn't work? Let me check if this is. This is chat that's not working. I don't know if that. No, it seems to work great. Okay, never mind. Not that I expect anybody to be chatting here, but sometimes Magic drops by it in the evenings if he sees the stream up. I think I'll stick with that one. Okay. Now, the way this would work is I got to do a couple things first. I need to turn on, this is basically a 30-second opening range breakout. I'm going to look at that first. Maybe I won't. Maybe I will not. Maybe I will just look at the typical range. The basically what would be this is equivalent to the initial balance, 1 hour. What I normally do is set these candlesticks up, right? And then turn off that so that I can see where 30 seconds happens or whichever time frame. And the idea is above and below that range. Well, that's like real easy to spot with the candlesticks. Not so with the, not so at all with the, last price here. Okay. Excuse me. I should be in bed, I guess. Huh? Yeah, at least 30 seconds. Now, the 5 minutes is another thing that we do in the daytime for the RTH session, but that's not something that's going to happen here. Let's see what 30 seconds does. Okay. All right, so there's just a third. Now we can also scroll out on the timestamp down or the timeline down here and get 30 seconds. Pretty cool, huh? And there we have it. Now that's a 30-second moving window, and what we're looking for is 1900. I'm looking for me to stop yawning. Sorry about that. Where'd my tea go? This can be quite different than during the day when there's when the session actually opens, because obviously the Globex is already running. What we're looking for now is the Asian session to open, which is at 1900 Central Standard Time. So there's not going to be any real dramatic movement of anything, I don't think. This is a test, very definitely. Got a minute or two here. Two, I guess. I don't think there will be much movement. I think I'll be much more looking for the 1 hour opening range. This is typically a RTH session thing. Some squats that try to wake up here. Have some pull-ups in a minute. So the mechanics of this is to just when the 30-minute when the candle starts, I have the high and the low, And I can just wait till that 30 minutes plays out, and then I can put my resting orders above and below. There we go. So now we've just turned 1900. So far here is the first, there's the high and there's the low so far. And this doesn't look right with price. And there are the, now I have the zones, right? Which is coming from IRT. So I don't have to, I could do away with the candlesticks now, and that would not be a problem because I have the high and the low of the first, unfortunately, but it will not be the first 30 seconds. So there was the high and low of the first 30 seconds was formed right there. So what I would typically do is put a long above and a short below and let them rip. Now, I'm not going to do that because it's very light volume and it's going the wrong way. Looking at price here. Oop. So we, that would be a short now, typically. And the life would be full of regret right now. There's another one too, which is the 5-minute return to open, which has nothing to do with this session. So I'm not even going to worry about it here. First thing to note is, let's see what, I've got it also set up over here where it's easy to see. So here's the beginning of the range. So far, we've got only 2.5 points wide, right? Got to be real careful about that. And this was the IB that just, the Globex. And this will be Asia. Man. Oh, I'm taking some strain here. So do I have the IB? Okay, no problem. So what I'm going to do now is get rid of the candlesticks. Nuke the candlesticks. Okay. And we'll get price back up here, flopping around. There we go. There we go. Now you see that this is pushing itself out because it's expanding with price, and that would have been a great, would have been a good long. But it wasn't signaled. The original breakout was the short. So, not good. Not good. But we're opening up the IB. These are the zones. And we'll see what happens. Oops. So we'll just let this develop now for about an hour and see where we go. See how it turns out. The statistics for this from Edgeville are, which is a system I'm trying to use to take some of the strain off me for vetting setups in IRT, because I'm not a snappy coder wizard. So this is the first thing we're going to look at here is the retracement or the rejections. So based on which formed first, the high or the low, we're able to decide what the probabilities of first break is. And this is not very rosy picture here, is what I thought. I did this for about 6 weeks, and I thought I'd just revisit it. And it didn't amount to much for me with this instrument. So I thought I'd give it a try tonight and see if there was some differences. Now, this is a 5-minute chart, so obviously we've got to get some time before. Now we've just pushed up. Okay, so we do have the low formed first, and the high is now being expanded. That can change 50 times in the next hour, but, there you go. So if you were sitting here off this long, you'd be pretty happy about everything. It's, 12 handles or so. This is the source of these zones over here. Right here. I know, and the zones and all that. Come on. There we go. Here they are here. Oh, no. They're old ones. There they are. Hey, Panda. And this could be a dud, just like those 5 weeks were. Uh, it, and I'm certainly not saying that there aren't opportunities in these sessions, but for the instrument and the setups that I'm looking at, they were not interesting to me. Well, let's wind up some blues or something here. What do you think? Oh, somebody just. That's another thing about this time of night. News can have a huge impact. That was obviously something news related. There's the earnings calls are over. There's, let's have a look if there's anything coming across the wire here. This is one of my news sources, Financial Juice. It has a calendar here and a Squawk Box affair going on over here. And my old standby news system is investing.com. Been having trouble with a pop-up thing, gammy thing, that we've got PMI tomorrow and Michigan numbers. We are also in earnings season, but there's no big earnings out tomorrow, so okay for that. Today was Amazon and Apple. But that was right after the bell, so I'm not thinking that's got anything to do with this. And I won't know what it might have been over here. I don't think that our market's popping. Well, this is Asia trading, so this Japanese industrial output could have something to do with it. That's another part of this session that I'm not, even though I lived over there for 11, 12 years, I'm not in Asia. I'm not keen to know. I mean, I'm not really in the know on this, how reports affect this futures, our futures over here. Let me put it that way. The thing that I discovered when I was doing this before, especially with Asia, it goes, this session runs until 4 in the morning. Well, you may well have the breakout and retest, at midnight or something, and I'm going to be long gone. But I wanted to do this tonight. If I don't stop yawning, I'm put the computer to sleep. And again, the reason for the stream, and not me just standing here doing this, is I have a commitment not to take any trade ever off the live stream. So, because it's my virtual trading journal, right? So I have to have it running in case I take a trade. And if I did not have it running, I wouldn't be able to take a trade even though I saw it presented itself. Well, here we are, yes, at the day's high, and overnight high, or ETH high and the high. So there we go. If you want to see what that looks like over here, there you are. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. 7 views, huh? Wow. That's impossible. 5 consecutive views? Well, if you're watching this, drop something in the chat and let me know if that's working. I saw something on my OBS side that didn't look good to me. And welcome to the stream. This is my live trading journal, virtual trading journal, Central Standard Time. And the typical stream, risk neutral trading, is from 8 o'clock in the morning Central Standard until 1500, which is the cash market. And yeah, welcome to the stream. This is Bookmap. Whoops. This is Bookmap. And this is IRT. This is my basic charting package. These are the micro tabs. If you look here at the header of any of these windows, you'll see the instrument, the chart type, the periodicity, and the session. Excuse me. And there's a watermark, but it's kind of blurry. So you always know what you're looking at. This is the micro NQ ES. This is my high time frame micro composite chart for the micro ES. These are daily candlesticks, RTH session. So this is the full session, cash session, 8:30 Central Standard Time to 1600 Central Standard, which just finished. Here is day before. Wherever price overlaps, I pull this volume profile around them, and that generates the VPOC point of control, and the high and low volume nodes, which are represented by these red and green lines. The values for these high and low volume nodes push automatically to Bookmap, as do the session prices, which are, oops, I want to do that very bad. The session prices, which are over here. Yeah, you can get them. These are the session prices. And the columns here on Bookmap are as follows. This is the micro composite, which is where I enter these values that are over here, the high and low volume node, the POC and stuff, manually. This is the high volume node column here, which is where these volume values push automatically. I don't know why this is being so weird here. Why is it not? I guess it's just flat day market so far. Here's one of the high volume nodes. This is the full session volume profile, which started at 1700, hour or two ago, and will be going through 1600 tomorrow. This is not the RT or the ETH or extended trading hours. This is the full session or the Globex, and this is the RTH volume profile on Delta. The statistics from the day that just finished, and these are. I input these statistics by the associated prices every morning before the market opens about 8:15, and that's real simple to do. And I have a study that generates that data. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong. I'm not doing what I'm business. Here's the micro composite, high volume node, volume profile for the Globex, volume profile on Delta for RTH, and this is the statistics column I was talking about. And these are the session prices. The statistics come from a study that I have. And here they were for today. Now, the way this works, it looks back at 1800, the most recent 1839 trading days. Of these days, 574 of them opened higher in range. So this is higher out of range, which would be gap up, higher in range, lower in range, lower out of range, gap down. And I'll show you in a second how those work, how they're determined. I do it every morning before the market opens. So these values that are in Bookmap have been in here since this morning, before the market opened. And of these days where we opened higher in range, then these were the probability of the overnight volume point of control being revisited is 80.8%, and so on down the list. That's how it goes. I do that every morning. And there you have it. Now we are $1 high here, 1 point. So between every one of these price increments is 4 ticks, quarter, 50, quarter, half, and 75. And liquidity. This liquidity came into the book here at about 1900. Still sitting up here. So let's see what we get. So far, so good, I guess. Yeah, welcome to the stream. It's really my pleasure. And as I said, this is, the normal risk neutral trading stream is 7 hours every day from 8 o'clock in the morning Central Standard until 1500. And sometimes when I want to watch things in the Globex, I pull this up. So actually, I don't take trades based on discretion. It's all, what is going on here? It is all data driven. Typically, I take statistically verified trade setups which have a positive edge, and that's do it. And that work is done over here. For example, this is a typical setup, coded, and the system trades this. It evaluates every one of these rules every 30 seconds, and can back test, forward test, whatever. This is a visualization of that system. But in order to speed up the vetting process some, I'm now leaning on Edgeful, which is this data tool. And it works really well. The way you do this is, you obviously, like everything with trading, you start from the top down. This is the initial balance breakout. So the first thing we do is look by the weekday, and we're looking at the MES, we're looking back 2 years, and we're looking at the Chicago Asia session from 7 p.m. to 9, in other words, 1900 to 2100, which are custom sessions that I built. So at this, with this filtering and Thursday, now watch the different days, makes a big difference. Big difference for Friday. There's a 76 or 74% probability we'll break one side. There's a 2% probability we'll break them both, and there's a 22% probability there will be neither the high nor the low will be broken. That's important, and that happens a lot in these ETH sessions, either Globex or this Asia session. The next thing we're going to do is move to the rejection, which can have more filtering. It can have the IB size and the ending zone. This is the probability of the high or low being broken first, dependent upon which of the IB levels was formed first. And that can be viewed in a couple different ways, but the easiest is TradingView, because these indicators here come with this subscription to Edgeful, wherever that went, right here. So there they are, and it's just easier than looking back on the charts. So here is the IB. This was Asia, Globex that just ended. This actually would have been a good trade, because the way these work is, when you have the breakout, the low was put in first, the high broke out, we retraced to the 25, and off it went. So that was just textbook winning trade in the Globex, which I was not streaming at all. Here we are now. So the low was put in first. We're testing up here on the highs. We've got a range of 1350. And we got another 35 minutes to go, 33 minutes to go. But this is disappointing. This was just perfect. And it's, what is it, 67 to 85? Yeah, this is 15 handles. That would have been plenty of range as well. Plenty of meat on the bone. So you get the idea. It's real simple. This is the IB low, this is the IB high. These are 25, 50, 25, right? So you break out, you retest, carry on. So this is the 25. If you want to go back and look at how that looks back over here, then we go, the next step after this is the retracement. So there are those levels, 25, 50, 75. Based on which the IB high broke out or the IB low broke down. There you go. I'm trying to lean on this to, if I were a good, fast coder, then IRT is great. And the output reports are super and very detailed. And I have done the homework myself to determine the positive expectancy or edge or not. And that I do, in case you're curious. I do right, where'd it go? Right here. I do right here. Every one of these lines is a complete back test. 493 days, you know? The setup, the instrument, and the results. Wins, loss, average win, loss, average loss, scratch, win rate, loss rate, expectancy, R factor, risk reward, on and on, sharp and Soltino, and all of that. So I have every one of these lines is the back test done with IRT. That's how I do it. That's how I know what the expectancy is, and if it's got a positive expectancy, then it's a viable setup. That's the only way I know to approach trading as a business, which, you know, is the way you should do it. Because it's rather than a video game or gambling, it's a business of statistics and probabilities. And if you put the statistics in your favor and the probabilities, the edge in your favor, that's why they call it an edge. You can lean on the law of large numbers to manifest that edge to your bank account, and that's how you develop a winning business over time. And it's the methodology of the most successful traders in the world. And I'm talking about the real ones, Jim Simmons and Paul Tudor Jones and Tom Sawzoff and those guys. And coincidentally, it's the business model of the gaming industry. It's exactly the same philosophy and model as a casino from the point of view of the casino, not the gambler. Casinos don't gamble. They just want, you know, they play no game on the casino floor which they have not pre-identified and done the homework, like I was just showing you a minute ago, to identify a positive edge or expectancy. And then the only mission that those guys have on the casino floor is to play that game as many times in 24 hours as they can, because the law of large numbers manifests the expectancy to the bottom line of the casino. And that's exactly how it works. And it's just that simple. So you need to develop or identify some sort of setup that you can quantify to have specific rules and, you know, do not vary from them at all, period. And then whenever it presents itself, whenever the entry trigger presents itself, Bob's your uncle and you're in the trade. That's pretty simple. That's the way here we are now. Like this is the coded version of this little guy over here that we're looking at tonight, but this is only for the RTH session. The way you set up the back test is pick however many days you want to do here. Like, let's do 50 or 100 days and back test it. And there you go. Now, the computer evaluated every one of these rules every minute, took 144 trades. That's the net. These are micros. It evaluated 119 days. It took 35,500 bars, 1 minute candles, and it took 3 seconds to do that. Pretty cool, huh? Average, max favorable excursion, adverse excursion. Here is the, I should say. There's the number of trades, the winners. Max winner, average winner, stops, max stop, average stop, 45% profitability, 2.1 risk to reward. There were 7 consecutive winners and 7 consecutive losers, ironically. And then if you want to get real into the weeds, which you should if you're actually doing this yourself, there is every trade. Exact date, entry time, exit time, the entry, the name that I put on them, the exit types, the profitability, the net result, the profitability, and the stuff. That's the way. And with this data is how I propagate. All that data goes wherever it went. All that data goes here. That's where all of this data comes from. And that's how you do it. That's how I believe and understand that it's done. I'm not saying I am, I'm not trying to be an expert here or, talk down to anyone. I'm just trying to say that that's what I believe and how I approach it. And we'll see if we get any action tonight. I don't know. We've now crossed the first divide here. Very light traffic. Let's see what the volume looks like. Well, this is the average volume for this, looking back 20 days for this time frame. There's what volume we have, so that's our percentage, and we're doing about a 1.5 points per 1 minute candle at this moment. This indicator right here is simply a. Where am I? God damn it! Sorry, gosh darn it. Where'd it go? This indicator right here is just a blue vertical line. That's all there is to it. And it's I put that on the first print of every session. And the idea is that when I look back at the, if I can see this on the left of my screen, and I know that this is the inside market. Oh, that's the problem. I see what happened here now. There we go. This is the inside market right here, right now. And this is the first print. So when I look here, look at that screen with this and this, I know without any question, this is the full session and this is the full context, right? It's up, isn't it? Which way do you think this is? What do you think the context of this session is so far? Well, here's our open and here we are. So up, north, up and to the right. Damn it. I think I was on the wrong window. Here's what I was talking about. Blue boy over here is this vertical line. This is the inside market right here. So this means if I can see this and this, I've got the entire session in view. That's what I'm pointing out, but it didn't look like it had changed. I'm not sure exactly why, but okay. No indicators on my charts or my IRT. There are only price-driven lines or references. There's volume here. Price, statistics, and on the chart itself is the POC, VWAP, and a mid. And there's a POC and a VWAP for the Globex or the full session, and there's for the RTH when we're doing that. That's all. These reference lines here are just for me to be able to trade, because I trade live on Bookmap. So I want to have these reference lines visible, and they are pushed to IRT from here. I export them from IRT to, just as I do the session prices. So there you go. Now you know everything I know. Bing, bang, Bob. Bing, bang, boom. Bob's your uncle, right? So cool. Where are you from? Anyone? Bunch of views coming by here, it seems like. So, drop a like and a thumbs up and subscribe and, all that stuff. If it doesn't cost you anything and it's only a couple clicks, it's a big help for me. And remember that we stream every day. I stream every day live from 8 Central Time until 1500. This Globex is kind of I did it for 5 weeks straight while I was trying to investigate any opportunities in these Asia and Globex sessions. But I didn't find one for these. Really, it was not that interesting for these instruments that I look at. So I thought tonight I wanted to see what was going on. Again, last Friday was the last of the 5 weeks. Hey, Greensville. Yeah, exactly. Self-talk. I started trading in 1999. I mean, not continuously, but I thought that's when I first found out about trading, and I came over here. I was living in Africa then. I came back over here to the States, and promptly lost my ass in 911. So that was trading equities, and I got back around futures, I don't know, in the 2000 somewhere. And yeah, lived in Asia for 11 years and then moved back here about 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago now. God, time flies, doesn't it? Jesus. Moved back here in 21. So yeah, this is, as I pointed out, this is Bookmap. This is IRT. This is just a charting package. And I tell you something that I have found to be really, just recently, that has been really helpful is Edgeful. I started out with an original grandfathered in subscription to this, but I didn't use it much. And then about, I don't know, a few months ago, I opened it back up to see what was going on, and the improvements that they had made since the original ones is phenomenal. So what I'm trying to do is lean on Edgeful and for my statistics and my vetting process, because I am not some young code whippersnapper boy. I'm an old cowboy from Montana, and that's the truth. So for me to figure out how to do all of this accurately and precisely so that it actually takes the trades, multiple targets, stops, all that stuff, took me a long time. And now what I have done is I've, able to kind of, you'll notice I've cobbled some of the bits, trade management pieces from that other one as I build the new ones, but it still takes me quite a while. So I'm trying to shorten the vetting process, but I will definitely never not vet setups, because I believe, as I said a few minutes ago, that is the correct way to approach trading, as far as I can tell from, Jim Simmons and Sosnoff and Mark Douglas and all those kind of guys. And then I just had to, pick up this other stuff along the way to figure out what the hell I was doing and be able to do it. It's pretty complicated, and I will say something about it, okay? If you don't use it now, I wouldn't recommend it, because it is single thread, and every morning with this huge volume that we have, this thing has got lags going on. It's basically untradeable for me. The reason that I kind of stick with it is because, as I mentioned, that I export all the session prices over here. Well, I also share those freely with anybody that wants them. And I push them up, besides my other machine over here, I push them up to Google, and then it's a CSV file, and there's a whole lot of people in a couple other sites and Discord places that use these session prices. And this can be put in with a Cloud Notes column in Bookmap, or you can just, whatever your software you've got that'll take CSV levels, or data, and or you can just use a regular Excel sheet. A couple of guys just do that. So yeah, it's a pretty professional program, but it's old, right? And it's like me, right? So and it doesn't multi-thread. Now, I don't know, I've tried to optimize it and all that crap as much as I can, but I couldn't trade with it because of the lags in the morning. And I'm talking about the RTH open at 8:30 Central Standard Time. So Sierra Charts is a similar functionality, but it's a bit cheaper, but it's multi-threading, so it doesn't have those issues. Just like me, it's old, can I tell you. Hey, Justin, what's up, dude? Yeah. How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, you know all about it. You know all about the lags and the dramas I've been having. And then it's the guys over in Static, a lot of those people and people in Traders Lab have been moving away from this to IRT to Sierra Chart. I'll tell you something that I found out about, which I had never used, embarrassingly, but I'll be happy to share it. Is I was talking about using the Edgeful stuff here for the probabilities and the to try to lighten the load on me from a programming point of view to still vet and keep all the data for backtesting. And thanks, man. I appreciate it. Well, if you get a subscription to them, you can get all these indicators in TradingView. And this is about a slick little program, I'll tell you. I mean, for running backwards and forwards, I don't know about trading, but for moving back and forth and scaling in and out and looking at different things, it's handy as two right hands, I'll tell you. And these indicators that you see here, except for some code that I built that trade this thing, are all included with the Edgeful thing. Now, this stuff that a couple of these things like this thing down here that this thing that I built just for fun to see how it works, is not. That's whatever you call that, plain script algorithm thing. But yeah, that's pretty handy. Now, the problem with Edgeful is I would have to go to the next level, which is expensive, to get the full backtesting capability. So for me to get what I'm getting now is probabilities, right? So We know the probability that we're going to have a single break or on the high or the low based on which of the IB levels formed first. Next step would be to go down here to the retracement. Oh shit! Sorry about that. I'm not showing you the right screen. This is the what I was just showing you about. Man, I got it. I'm tired, I guess. This is the stuff that comes from Edgeful in TradingView, and then this is like the algo and stuff. That just crap I built to do things like, well, you'll relate to this, VPOC migration, and this is the initial balance, okay, and I what I'm doing tonight's the initial balance thing to check out if it's interesting in Asia. So that's you'll understand that, Justin. Anyway, the story is here. All I can get are these probabilities, right? I know that this is of the retest. So the idea here is that it breaks the IB, and then there is a 48% probability it'll retrace to the 25% mark, which is this one right here. Now these levels I push from IRT right here over to Bookmap so that I can trade them live, because IRT is where I vet and develop setups. So any trades taken here are done in the simulated environment in IRT. Mm-hmm. And then I have that back testing data, as I was talking about, to every one of these lines. Every row is a complete back test, 498 days. Some of these were month to date. Different instrument setup, configuration of the setups, and all of the stats that you ever want to dream of, And this is the way I think that you have to vet a setup. Favorable excursion, win rate, loss rate, expectancy, R factor, all that crap. So the point is I will not get all of this detailed data out of Edgeful unless I step up to the next level, which has actually you don't have to do the step of me doing the back test here and coming up with these reports like I was just showing you a minute ago, like these back test reports. And then I would enter this data, the number of trades, long, short, average winner, average loser, all this. I enter that in that spreadsheet, which I cooked up and developed those. And that's what spits out the metrics. But in the Edgeful thing, it's all automatic and real slick, but it's more expensive. So I'm sort of hanging on the fence there. That's where I'm at this moment right now. And this evening one, I've been trying to test these. I did about 5 weeks of these to see if there was any interesting opportunities for me in the ORB or the Asia sessions. And so I quit about last week, I guess. And then I thought I would just look again tonight to see something, especially with these earnings and things going on. So that's basically it, as far as I'm concerned. That's pretty well caught up, I think. Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with these. And there's one other thing I forgot to mention. This is the micros tab, and in the header here you can see the instrument of all of these IRT charts. You can see the instrument, the periodicity, the chart, the periodicity, and the session, so that you always know what you're looking at as coming by the stream or whatever. And you'll recognize this thing down here, right? The micro composite. This is well, here's one you're going to recognize. There's the T-Lab snap that I post every day. But anyway, back to the reality here. these are the micro composites where I get the the high and low volume nodes and the micro composite POC and all that stuff, and then that data and the session prices I push to Bookmap, and also share the session prices with everybody at the T Lab or wherever that uses them. That's as much as I know, dude. Damn, it's 8:20, 8 o'clock already. And I would not be surprised if I didn't take a trade. And one of the reasons is because, I stream 7 hours every day, starting at 8 o'clock. So, and as we all know, here, this is one of the algos that I did. Asia goes all the way to 4 in the morning, right? Well, I'm not going to stand here and babysit this crap till 4 in the morning. I got news for everybody. This is one of the algos that I. Well, I tell you, this Pine Script stuff is pretty slick. You can do some stuff on your own that's pretty cool. All these trading looking things you see floating around here, I did. And with the help of whatever it is, whoever the AI thing is that does this stuff. And for example, this is an example of the code. And that didn't take more than 3 hours. With the help of whoever the hell the AI thing is that helps me, that you got to ask it real specific questions, and I figured out finally after a while how to get the inputs out that I want. And if I want to, for example, I want to, points or ticks or this particular one is only the retracement, but I have one that does the deepak migration and a couple, and the IB high, IB failure, IB continuation. So you can do that stuff pretty slick over here. And I'm just dreading the thought of moving away from IRT to something else, because I feel a sense of responsibility to people in the T Lab about the session prices, right? And I use them in Bookmap. So, I'm not saying I'm the altruistic wizard here, but I feel a sense of responsibility for that. And if I switched off to Sierra charts or something like that, I don't know if I could get it figured out to push them. So I don't know what to do. But if I had to rely on IRT to trade right now with this big lag problems in the data flow, absolutely impossible. In the mornings, especially. After a while, like now, there's no lags, but 8:35, 50 seconds, 60 seconds. I mean, it's crazy. So, there you go. And here we are. Here we are. What the hell happened to the music here? That play out already? Oh, I guess it would help if I start the damn thing. Jesus Christ. Or the old guys are fun to watch, right? Tomorrow we've got Michigan and PMI. So got some news in the morning, and not anything specific on major on the earnings front. So that's good. Been real scarce at Static. I went in there a couple times and said good morning, and that was the only post of the day. I don't know. I guess I'm hoping everybody made a lot of money and are on vacation. I don't know. Rod's kind of back a little bit now, I think. course, T-Lab keeps chugging along, so that's good for everybody. Well, there we go. So that is the IR, or the IB set, as far as this orb. Now, the idea would be a breakout and a retest to the 50 I generally prefer, and then carry on. The problem is, as I said, we're only talking about a couple of points, so there's not much meat on the bone here. And I'm not going to be standing here till 4 in the morning, so I will unlikely be doing anything trade-wise tonight. There we go. There's the breakout. Okay, now I have to decide: am I going to be disciplined, or am I going to let Monkey Boy come swinging through here and convince me to do something? I don't think so. Monkey Boy, for those of you who don't know me, is a euphemism, as Tom uses in the T-Lab, for hide, right? It's that all that psychological baggage we brought with us through evolution. It's FOMO and desire to be right and all that stuff that can really hurt you as a trader. So I call it Monkey Boy. Tom calls it hide. And I don't think as far as I know, nobody's ever going to get rid of that. It's part of our wiring, for Christ's sake. You're going to get rid of blue eyes, you know what I mean? I don't think it's going to happen. So, what I think you need to do, or what I try to do, is be real vigilant and aware of my state, so that if I feel Monkey Boy getting all excited, like I just got through saying I don't think I'll be trading tonight because of the range and the time, and then it breaks out and I feel, ooh, shiny, ooh, is it going to pull back and I'm going to do trade? That's Monkey Boy. I just put him out in the backyard with the raccoons and he'll be all right. That's this if you trade another instrument like the NQ, the MNQ, something that's got more movement, I think these sessions are well, I know they're quite profitable for a lot of people. Yeah, exactly. Way back when, if you were risk adverse, if you saw the grass wiggling and you were risk adverse and you jumped behind a tree and your brother wasn't and went over there to kick the grass and see what the hell was there, probably ended up lunch, right? So then he didn't pass down that DNA, and here we are. Yeah. Here we are. If you're new around here, do me a favor and smack a thumbs up, and a sub would be great. That's just a couple clicks and it would be pretty cool. Pretty big help. Not that I'm trying to make any money off of YouTube, but at some point, before I die, it would Be pretty cool. And I certainly wouldn't turn it down if they want to give me 50 or 60,000 bucks a month. I'd be happy to take that from them. But the point of the stream, as I said early on, is that this is my virtual journal because I'm got a lot of problems besides being old. I'm dyslexic and I don't multitask well. And so for me to be screen snapping and typing and doing all that stuff to have an accurate journal is just a fool's game. But this is perfect because everything that I see on these screens is captured on my video, and this narration is what I was thinking. So I don't have to even, other than talking, I don't have to vary away from the market or trading at all. That's the idea of it. The one thing about the stream that's kind of a downside, I guess, that's nice about Discord is screen snapping and stuff. That's nice to have that contribute, be able to see stuff from other people and me, whatever. And it, opens up more of a dialogue, I think. So there we have it. Now let me start thinking here. First thing we got to do is, this is the Asia Open, right? That's Blue Boy. So I'm sorry, this is the Globex Open. So let me put Blue Boy Junior over here for 1900, wherever that went. All right. That's the Asia Open. So the first level formed was the low, and then the high, and out the top we went. So let's get over to here. Now we can do a few things. First of all, there is a couple of, and this confirms what I just got through talking about. So the IB size is 18%. And the way that's calculated is the IB, the size of the IB, and then divided by price gives you the 18%, and they do it in percentages. Beats the hell out of me. I asked the help where that was coming from, and that's the answer I got. And also we have the ending zone, which is also a percentage also. And the way it works is, starting opposite the first level formed, 0 to 25%, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. So now we know that we're 1.8 or 18%. We can come back over here and we can add the rest of the filtering up here, which is going to be right like this. It's going to go 0 to 1. It was 1.8, and the IB size is whatever I said. Oh no, the IB size is right here, and this is 0 to 24% because it's at the top. So that's the final filtering for the day. Did I get the day and everything in here right? I think so. Yeah, Thursday. Well, look at me go. Isn't that cute? So the IB high was formed second, right? So the IB low was formed first. So there was a 65% probability that we would take the IB high. And we are already done it. The next order of business is the retracement. So We got to add the custom goodie over here too for here IB size. Boom. You can change these if you want to have fibby things in there or whatever else you want to do, but this is the way they put it, so that's what I'm doing. So the initial balance high was broken out. The way they call it in Edgeful, breakout is up, breakdown is down. There you go. So this is the IB high was broken out. There's a 45.5% probability that we will retrace to the 25% zone, meaning we broke out. There's a 25% or 45% probability we'll retrace to here. Only 18 more percent we get to the 50. And there's a lot of things that you got to start thinking about, and I am trying to work them out. One of them, first is, you don't take the breakout. You wait for the retest. If you're thinking about a long, in other words, continuation, the IB continuation. There's another side of that coin which says, now this is only 45%, so I would definitely not do it. But you could also think about it as a mean reversion. What's the percentage that you're going to get back to here or down to here? So these are things I'm trying to work out with this Edgeful thing so that I can hopefully, I just can't program fast enough or well enough. You know, if I was Rod or part-time Larry or one of those guys, you know, that can sit down and while they're bullshitting on YouTube and end up with a, you know, complete backtest program or something, it would be great, but I can't do that. And that's one of the reasons I was trying to mess with these trading view things. The problem is I've got the lowest, cheapest, never before heard of again, cheap trading view deal. So I don't get any data worth backtesting. I mean, it's like 3 months or 2 months or something. Well, this goes back to June 7th, right? That's what this backtest thing here of this strategy, whatever it is you know, they got a few things there, Sharp ratio and some stuff like, not nearly as comprehensive as the Edgeful one, but you know, they do. But it only goes back a month or something, so that's useless. I mean, and I'm not in the mood to pay a couple $100 for, I'm not sure it's accurate enough to do that. There you go. Now you know exactly what I do. What I know as much as I do. And I've changed these custom sessions here too. My thinking was I want to know the probability of this happening in this time frame, not 3:30 in the morning, you know? Well, we can do that actually. Let's look at let's look at Asia. There's an other Asia one here, I think. That's in the morning. Where's the one? There was a different one around here. Well, let's just look at this one then. Now, this is going to include, see the difference with the retracements and stuff? Not too different than it was actually, but so I think this makes sense. I don't know. About the same, huh? Over here, but not here. That's interesting. I was trying to filter down and get more, what happened? Get more accurate. Got a guy in the stream, Anton, in the normal daily stream is doing real well. He uses the ATAS or ATAS program. He really likes that a lot. he's contributed some pretty interesting things to me. A hedging technique, which is really, really interesting. Justin, especially, you might be interested, well, or anybody is, but and it works, and it's legal, and I have used it. I've actually even built a thingy for it over here. And it's legal with all brokers, and it's legal with prop shops and the whole story. So it's pretty cool. Hedge it. So this is essentially what the way it would work. This is a little something I built down here, but pretend you want to get in. Pretend your entry is going to be at 75.01, and it's going to be a short. Oh, let's make it a long. What the hell? Oop, oop, oop. Long window. There we go. Okay, so I just input a imaginary price where we are right now. Put in a long. Now this is just something I cooked up for the math behind it to visualize it, because that's how I think. But this is what he's dreamed of, what he came up with, and I don't know how he did it. But so basically, this is the amount of contracts. This is the instrument. Here we have the risk. Here we have, then this is how I'm trying to, the reason I'm a little hesitant with it is the legging out is I'm not very good at, and the auto hedge. So essentially what's happened is you're going long. So here's your entry right here, 75.01. And this is based on, stop locations, 28 ticks. Oops, never mind. Let's make it something different here. Let's make it 16. That's a little more normal. I was looking at different stuff. Sorry. There we go. So your entry is 75.01. Price pulls back to your stop, which is figured up here, 16 ticks. Rather than a stop, you add another 5 contracts and simultaneously short 1 mini. That's your hedge. Now you're dead hedged, and this is your average price, and you're dead hedged. The most you're ever going to be down is 2.5 points, no matter what price does, up or down. And you basically got, and it's a zero hedge for 1 mini, or 10 micros or 1 mini. And I started out by going to both the AMP and Lucid and a couple others. Oh yeah, very definitely, because it's not a wash trade. It's completely legal because you're trading 2 separate instruments, the micro and the mini. So, and then the key to the the key to it is obviously taking off the correct leg when, and that's what I've had a problem with once or twice, where I didn't get it right and it went the wrong way, and then it compounded the risk. My risk got away from me quickly, so I have to be careful about that. And then I've tried to figure out what to do about that. Let's say we take off the short leg, or let's say we take off the short leg at 74.99. So 74.87 would be, or 97 would be the, if I got the math going up there right, would be where we're at. And it's a 2 hedge, so that would be, but then if price turns around and goes back on you, it goes the wrong way, you're upside down, right? So, but it's pretty cool. And worst to worst, you can just, if price completely goes in your face, this is the maximum risk you're ever going to have on, no matter what. And assuming you take them both off at once. So that was an interesting contribution from him. I thought was really cool. Well, I hope one of you guys got along on the open and, are just rolling in dough about now. bottom of the hour here pretty quick. I'll be turning this stream down and off at the top of the hour. I really appreciate everybody coming by, that's for sure. I mean, I realize it's my live stream and it's my journal, you know, but it is still kind of weird when you're standing there just talking to yourself. When talking to yourself, it's kind of strange. But I talk to myself most of the time anyway, so. I grew up on a ranch in Montana and was the only kid, so out in the middle of no place, I was, you know, I got good at talking to myself. Or my dog or my horse. Now, before I get all discombobulated here, let me get some of this junk off. Now that it's, now the stream is live, I will leave everything running, of course. And this, every night during the switchover, I switch it from RTH to ETH so that the session levels push properly. At the moment, we're looking at a gap. Here's our close. Assuming we close up, assuming we keep chugging up. Why, I don't know, but it seems like up and to the left is the new thing to do. Excuse me. Okay. No crazy driving tomorrow. Cam's not working, so that's good. This is a test of all the orbs floating around. And I'll be looking at the GTX dot thing too. But I can set all these orbs up differently with, you know, different sizes and risk and all that stuff. I can't do it right now because I've got the V-pound variables being used for the purpose of pushing over to bookmap, but yeah. Doodly-doo. Been trying to get the bar trade coded up, Justin, so that I can, because in order to back test it, to validate that, you know, statistically, first thing you got to be able to do is programmatically define the bar or the break, you know, and then, which is the consolidation, and then the breakout and the retest is self-evident. But this is something I found and been trying to figure out how to, you know, make it work right. But the idea would be here's the consolidation, and then this would be the breakout and the retest and whatever. But I think it's just easier to stop being so fixated on the statistics and the vetted trades, and at some point just realize that there will be some discretion, you know, like that bar trade. I don't think there's any way you can code it, or that I can come up with to quantify it. But it's, you know, a lot of guys in static in particular do very well with it. Well, we near the bottom of the hour. Somebody, I don't know, does anybody know what somebody made a statement I found kind of hard to believe today that I heard. I guess it's right. But they were talking about the Globex. That the NQ pulled 1,000 points yesterday. Or today, whatever, you know. And I guess it did if you look down here at the low. Well, I'm on the right one. Of course not. There's the low. And here's the high. And that's more than 1,000 points, right? 7, 8. Well, not quite. I don't know. This guy was talking about the NQ moved 1,000 points or something like that, and I didn't think so, but it's pretty damn close if you look at. This is the RTH. Oh, wait a minute. I'm getting all screwy here. Hold on. Nobody move. Here, let's look at this. Okay. So the RTH from 202, 7202. This is the ETH, and this is the RTH. 7202 to 84. So that's 1,200 points. Jesus Christ. That's a lot. That's, when I was trading the NQ, which I used to do, actually, got funded at Top Step once upon a time and everything else with that, was not anything like that. I mean, the reason people started trading the NQ was the ES was like you had to drive stakes to see if the damn thing was moving, especially in the summertime. But, wow, 1,000 points. Holy shit. You threw a one lot on there and got all of it. You just got your year made for you right there. I thought he was wrong, but I guess not. Wow. Let's see what, 91. There's 91 points up here. It says the change was, so. If you can see my stuff up there. My quote page. Well, fortunately for me, I didn't have to make a fool of myself and not take a structured, a vetted trade here, because there hasn't been a trigger. So, you know, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is a thing. And I'm sticking to it. And I wouldn't put a trade on from now on, because it's, I'm not, you know, I'm running out of gas, and I'm not going to stand up and babysit it. I do use multi-brackets. So this is one of them. This is one for the magic box trade, which we've been working on. That's another guy from the stream. He does very well with that. And this is what I was looking at for the moving to this for the these are in lieu, these are with stops, right, and targets rather than, but you could always substitute the hedge for the stop. The thing about the hedge is really important for me to get across into the stream here on the record. Absolutely never would I be doing something without stop, you know, and brackets, especially in this crazy environment. And all the hedge does is replace the stop. Wherever the stop was going to be, that's where the hedge goes in lieu of. So there's that. And it does give you, you know, instead of just being out, no, well, I'm going to, you know, starting over, it can come back on you, you know, can come back to where you were and all that stuff. It is a really genius idea, I think. Oh, I can't believe all the people coming. I don't know whether OBS is lying or what. There's a lot of people coming through. Like and subscribe. Send money. Come on. What's the deal here? Post my bank account. Maybe not. Maybe not. Well, anyway, nice to talk to you guys. Dustin, hope everything's going good on your world, in your world. Otherwise, you know, your other world. Life's what happens while we're making other plans, right? I mean, I think about it. I've always worked a lot. Whatever needed doing, I've always done. But like, I've been standing here since about, I think I made the first post of the reports and stuff in the T-Lab about 6. So this morning, and it's now, you know, 20:33. It'll be 2100. So that's 18 hours. And these are stand-up desks too, and I'm old, so, you know, feel sorry for me. It is true, these are stand-up desks, and it's true that I'm old, but you don't have to feel sorry. Well, what kind of stuff are you guys trading this deal, or what are you doing here? Has anybody got anything to share about all the money they're making? Let's hear about it. And also, I forgot to mention, but I try to always do that. This is my virtual trading journal. What you see on these screens is captured in the video, and my narration here is what I'm thinking at the moment, and that completes the recording and the journal with much more detail, more accountability, and more transparency than I could ever do doing screen snaps and, you know, typing stuff. So there's that. But it is by no means a my way or the highway idea. You know, this is what I'm doing. I share it openly, completely, and transparently. I have a commitment to never take a trade off the stream. And that's as long as the stream's been going. That's the commitment. And that's exactly why I'm doing these night streams, because if I saw an interesting opportunity and wanted to take a trade, I wouldn't be able to if I were not streaming. So there's that. But it's definitely not my way or the highway, you know, and you know, I think that's a good idea. What are you out of your freaking mind? You know, I mean, whatever it is that you want to throw in there, or hey, try this. That's what we do in the daytime, especially with Anton and I. And Magic, and some contribute, some don't, right? It's like everywhere. But I want to get that out there and get that in the record, that it's, you know, get that on the stream, that it's just kind of what I'm doing now. And my goal is a consistently profitable trading business and maintain that. And, you know, if somebody says, dude, I've got 60% expectancy and a win rate of 50% or 55 or something like that, a real one, by throwing cat crap at the wall, I'd be, you know, getting the cats in here and lining them up. You know what I mean? I'm not, I am pretty fixated, I'm pretty rigid about only trading vetted setups, because I do believe that that is the correct approach. And I have not found anybody that does vetting that shares it, so I have to do it myself. And that's where I'm at. I've shown all of that stuff here, how I go about it, and, you know, all that. Let's see what happened with this old guy today. There's some trades. Let's see what that one is. There's a plus 64 ticks. This is my old, Justin, you might probably remember this. Rod and I did cook this one up. This is the zones, right? This is the first back test that, or IB strategy that I first coded up and back tested. And it's real simple. It's when there's 3 rules. Pretty boring. They're not showing here right now, but there's 3 rules. Take the IB, that's A. Progress to the continuation zone or the pullback zone, that's B. Pull back to the trigger zone, that's the trigger. And Bob's your uncle, there's a trade. So there's one. That was 64 ticks. And that's actually needs another 12 ticks added to that, because this old indicator in IRT doesn't add T1. It only thinks about one target, not T2, not T1 and T2. Doesn't add them together. So this is 12 ticks. Anyway, so these were the rules that I cooked up. Let's see what happens. Let's backtest this baby and see what's going on now. The reason I quit trading it was because it did really good through about January, and then it just went off the rails. The one thing about vetting and setups and statistics, when you have a statistically verified setup, you never tweak anything as long as all of the parameters are within limits of the back tests and forward tests. So until I had more consecutive stops in a row, consecutive in a row, military intelligence, right? Until I had more consecutive stops than had been presented in the back test, there was nothing I could change. And I was hemorrhaging, well, not hemorrhaging, I was dying of 1,000 cuts. So I parked it and then started looking at other stuff. Now let's see what happens here. There's the back test, 100 days, contracts, that's the right one. That's the futures, okie dokie. Let's back test it and see what happens. Well, there you go. 47,700 bars, 100 days, took 3 seconds, $5,000 profitable. These are in micros, by the way. I guess I better dust this thing off. 175 trades, average Favorable excursions 301 and adverse is $70. Well, that's kind of cool. 117 winners, highest winners $1.07, and average is 46. Because this trails on T1, this trails to break even, and that I can set the micro thing. Average 36 stops. Greatest stop was $30. That should be right. And 14 average losing trade. 66% win rate. R value or risk to reward of 3.13. That's cool. Max consecutive winners is 12 and losses or stops is 5. Oh man. I'm sorry. Wrong freaking window. I'll do it again and show you that first page. Oh, I'm too old for this. I'm too tired for this crap. So here we go. And there we go. And these are each and every one of those 177 trades right there. Date, time, entry name, exit name, whatever the hell it is, and the results. There you go. And then I would take that data and enter into that spreadsheet we were looking at earlier, and that's how I vet them. There's a unbelievably cool tool in Edgeful to do all of this magically, but you have to start with the algorithm. It doesn't, they have 3 or 4 that you can use if you want to, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start like I do here. It's just, and that's another reason actually why I started the PineScript thing, because in the Edgeful algorithm analysis tool and backtesting, you can input a TradingView PineScript algorithm, which you have developed and you think is worthy of your backtesting. You can import that into Edgeful, and so that's why I started cooking up those algos in the old TLAB stuff, right? Developing value, developing POC, IBs. The ORB trades are just IB with a different name, right? Because of the opening range breakout. Well, that's what the first 1 hour of the IB is, and those kind of things. So that's, and that's why I'd like to get the bar trade. So this is, I'll have to keep an eye on this. Now I can also push all of these levels over here to Bookmap as I do these. Now, oh, look here, we're going to pull back, but I'm not going to take the trade. If we pull back to the 25, that would be a trigger. Normally. I can push these zones over here to Bookmap like this. So that I can trade them live. I think that's pretty cool. I'm glad to dust that old thing off. Rod will be pleased. Okay. Hi, Panda. I hear you come tippy-toeing in with your little furry feet. Big tubby fat cat. Yeah, big fat cat. Yeah. What are you doing? Hmm? What are you doing? Come to see, come from? Yeah. Thank you. What do you want to do? Want to show you your face on camera? Okay. Well, damn, 1:45. Boys, the old guy's getting ready to head for the bunkhouse here. I really appreciate everybody coming by. That's great. Fun. And I would hope that there is some value that can be derived somehow from someone, me or anybody else. That's the point. Better together. Like a team, right? What? Come on. We're not a team. You're a fat cat. You want me to feed you? Yeah, thank you. Nice, nice of you to stop by. Remember, every trading day from 8 o'clock in the morning until 1500 Central Standard Time. I don't stand here talking the whole time. Sometimes I got to take Tam somewhere, or midday break or something like that. But it's pretty continual. I'll keep things chugging until the top of the hour here. Then I am going to shut it off and get ready to do my chores around here and whatever else. What are you trading, Steven? Oh, there's the 25%er. So our probability of that right there was 45.45%. Yeah, cool. You can, with these kind of volatility and this kind of action, if you, mind your risk, you can do well trading micros. It's nothing to be, I de-risk, I de-risk down to micros. Absolutely. What the hell? I mean, it can be a real viable, lucrative thing. It can be that business that you believe it should be. That's really important to understand. And all this hogwash about, trader psychology is so important. All this, I can't stop over trading and all this. What are you, nuts? Come on. How old are you, Do you still go to the bathroom in your Levi's? I mean, I don't, and I'm pretty sure you don't either. So I don't overtrade. And you shouldn't either. Know what I mean? I think if you approach it like that, some people get all wrapped up in something. I don't know what it is, but I think if you just, I don't overtrade. I have a trade plan with rules, and I don't break them. If you want to change the rules of your trade plan, that's perfectly normal. Away from the trading day, away from the live market, cool, calm, logically thought out. Great idea. Everybody does that. But, moving your stop away from where it was, away from entry because you think you want to give that trade a little more room. Unless you've got a predefined, sometimes in this, with this thing right here, I've noticed myself thinking and thought about it long and if I were to move, like say the trade is right here, the stop is here. And I think it ought to be just under the 75. Two things are a factor there. I had a crappy entry. My entry I should have been well aware of my risk settings, and my entry should have been at a place that put my risk where it needed to be, which is under here. But sometimes I have, not in recent times, but if I move my stop down to an area like this, I make sure that the targets are adjusted the other way so that the risk to reward and the target structure set up, like on the multi-brackets, is the same. In other words, if I'm risking 12 ticks here on a 2 lot for this thing, and I move the T1 to 14 ticks, I move the stop to 14 ticks, T1 and T2 have got to move those same amount of ticks. Yeah, well, and you may never need to worry about it, but yeah, exactly. Just, are you trading on a straight up account or an evaluation system or what? None of my business, by the way. And feel absolutely free to say it's none of your business. Just curious. And I've done this, I've traded minis and all of that stuff. That 2 lot that we were just looking at here, that risk neutral, this thing right here. If you trade that on minis and you achieve both targets, that's $750. One trade. Boom, bang, crash. Used to do that, And then I realized I needed to start when I started trying to get into this volatile market and structured trades instead of discretionary trading, then I needed to de-risk, So what the hell? Okay, cool. What I was going to say was if you're using an eval setup, you can do a Magic came up with his philosophy or his strategy is he has 5 copy eval accounts, small ones. And if he makes $100, that's $500 a day. If he makes $100 a day, that's $10,000 a month. Now, the secret to any of those things is to be able to do that and then take those payouts and bulk up your account. But yeah, no, there's great, good for you. And I don't know if I said it at any point along the way here, but I know I did say that I never take any trades off the stream. All trades are live, real time, and recorded. Never playback, never, I got along here and I did this over here and all that internet guru bullshit story. And that's why that's essentially boring, because I'm suffering from a bit of paralysis by analysis and not trading much. So, there's days go by I don't trade for sure, which is boring as tears. Imagine 7 hours standing here not doing anything. But it's real. So there's that. I try to keep a pretty comprehensive chapter list going through the day with a tool that I have that plugs into OBS. So, because I'm not ever going to stand and listen to all 7 hours either as a journal, right? But if I want to review the important stuff, I want to be able to go zip, zip, zip and jump from one to the other. And I try to do that. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I try to keep the right window on going too, but sometimes I don't do that. Well, what I thought about, it's the Magic Man. We were just talking trash about you, dude. I suppose you made a gazillion freaking dollars there. Magic, the Magic Man. Yeah, I took a look at this one more time, and some folks stopped by, which is pretty cool. It was interesting, and just now took the retrace back to the 25. Got the square dance going on here with the POC. And I'm not going to take a trade at 5 minutes to 9 because I'm signing off at 9. But this would have been the qualified entry. What I was going to point out a minute ago was we broke out the IB high. So 50% we trade back to the 25. Only 18% we go down to the 50. Meaning after here, there's an 18% probability we touch back down here. This is a pretty small IB, so these are only a couple of points each, which is a little scary because it's pretty easy to move around. Well, you're sliding in here doing this, backdoor man crap, Magic. I mean, come on, dude. You're supposed to be in the RT8 session losing money like the best of us. Yeah. I actually was thinking of your comments this morning about your trading last night, and that's one of the reasons I thought, I'm going to take a look at this again. And actually, the trade, if you can, let me show you here, or try to. Look at this Globex. I suppose this is probably what you got, but as far as this system, perfect, man. Breakout, retrace to the 25, and still going up. Nothing but blue skies. Yeah, I will do that. Are you talking Eastern Standard or my time? And they also have a power hour thing. But in order to do the lunchtime thing, I'd have to create my own, as I've done down here, because I don't think there's a particular, maybe there is, I don't know. Power hour continuation. They've even got an FOMC performance thing. It's pretty amazing. And CPI. I don't see any nude thing. Nude. What have I got on my brain? News thing. Said I was old. I didn't say I was dead. Yeah, what I would have to do for that noon deal would be to create a special little session, which I'll try to do for sure. Good idea. That's a very good idea. And I'll report back. I try to do anybody else. I try to do a lot of this this back testing and all of the stuff that we've been talking about in here, like back testing these strategies with something with that's the hedge thing that Anton's hedge. All of these back tests here, every one of these lines is the back test. 586 days, winners, losers, all that. Now I'll plop this. I'm going to go back to this because I kind of got away from it, actually. The old one, the old IB trade. But I will definitely run these numbers that we just looked at a minute ago because that's pretty interesting to me. Yeah, so I'll try to do all that stuff. I try to do that stuff and the Cody crap, like the algorithm stuff on oh, look at him go. Right, just abso-freaking-lutely as advertised. Look at that. Boom. And I stand here, right junk in hand. Look at there. Now, that's only 5 handles. So that's really not enough meat on the bone to put on risk, is it? I mean, that's a question, a serious one that you need to think about. But boy, it works out pretty by the numbers, whether that risk part is fits your criteria or not. I don't know. That's something you got to know for yourself. Of course, there's always the 12-to-1 stat, right, which is brandished about a lot, and Tom and the T-Lab talks about it a lot. But it's it's real simple. It's if the market is out of balance or in a trend, whichever way you want to call it, and you put a new high in the market between 12 and 1, there's a high probability, and nobody's ever been able to spout exactly what that probability is, and I've never tried to figure it out. But in the 90s, it's generally agreed. And maybe it is somewhere in there, but I've just never seen it. High probability that you will put in a higher or lower, high or low, at some point in the balance of the RTH session after 1300, which is pretty cool because that narrows it down. It's not like the IB, which says the IB high or low will be taken out at some point in the rest of the RTH session. Well, that's 6 hours, for Christ's sake. So that's an interesting twist to the. But I will definitely try to check this out for sure. Now, one thing I was able to do for Anton, you remember his return, his opening trade return to the open idea magic. I was able to code that sort of. Got to see where they went though. Now I'm all confused. Oh, wrong one. I think I have it over here. Anyway, God damn it. Where did that go? If I lost that, I'm going to be really pissed. Well, what it does is it doesn't do any kind of trading. It's not an algorithm because I didn't put any trade block into the code, but it puts out the statistics up in the corner. Like after, 100 sessions or 100 something or another, it achieved, it was positive so many. So that's the kind of thing that I could do with the, I think that I can do with the, what you're talking about here for the lunchtime thing. Where the hell did that go? Boy, I'm going to be really pissed if I lost that. Boy, it's not fun. I'm going to have to get me a helper. I got a helper right now. She's a pretty good one, too. Well, anyway. Oh, we took a trade. Look at here. The system took a trade. There we go. It took a trade right as I said. Oh, look at there. It's a perfect setup. Well, kiss my grits right there. Now, there's a T1. There's the profit target. And there's the stop. So, and this is all done by magic. No, it's all done by code, right? So there was the breakout. There was the retest to the 25, and it boom goes long too. And now that's probably aggressive target, but let's see what the hell happens. Who knows? Who cares? It's, make believe. But it is running on real data, and it is as accurate as I could figure out how to get it. I don't have any fantasies of trading algorithmically. I don't think, like what's Tom say, the ATM in the basement. But I do want real, as just like with IRT. I mean, if you're going to lean on it as a back test and lean on it to trade money or make financial decisions which affect you and your family, then better have it be accurate, as I can tell. I mean, that's the way I look at it. So I'll try to do that, absolutely. Get up there, come on. Who's the wuss here? Get out and push. Who's not pushing? Come on. What is this? And this is the reason Asia, that I don't think Asia's, this is probably one of the best textbook situations. And this is the kind of stuff that's like the first one's free, right? Like the drug dealer at the corner. First one's free. But boy, is this perfect. If this would work out, I'd be trading this damn thing. I'd be trading the Globex Open every night. 1700 to basically I shut it off at 1900 when Asia starts. But just look, there's the breakout, there's the pullback, and it's still going, by the way. So, but that's rare. A lot of times you get, boy, I tell you, this trading view is so much slicker than IRT. It just sucks. Here's a, for example, there's a long and there's a stop. That didn't work out like you had it planned. See what else we see around here. There's a short and there's two targets. They went to the target. What I was going to say was these don't frequently work out as nicely, these Globex ones, as today did. Another double stop over here. Boy, I tell you, this thing is so slick. I know you guys all know that, and you're tired of me saying it, but it's like a, shiny, new toy. Welcome, welcome. Like, subscribe, send money, all that stuff. Okay, we are past 1900 or 2100. So, well, we're having a party here. Let's get drunk and be somebody. Anyway, I hope you all had a great trading day. Remember that tomorrow is Friday. Be aware. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm really conscious about psychological capital, you know. There's nothing worse than going into a weekend in the hole, in my opinion. And that's a bad state of mind because losses are just a cost of doing business. Stops are a cost of doing business, you know. You are never going to be green all the time. If you see somebody say that on YouTube and you can get a hold of them, kick them real hard where they, you know, somewhere. And then if you can't get a hold of them, just don't ever go back. That's really bad news. And win rate is complete bullshit if it's not taken in proper context with risk reward and all the other, because that's how expectancy is calculated, right? Win rate is a function of that formula. But these guys, you know, 97% win rate. Yeah, you can go broke with that 90% win rate. You can go broke in 10 minutes if you're upside down with the risk reward. So, yeah. Anyway. Well, here we are again, more irrational exuberance. Oh, Greenspan, he finally died, damn it. But that was his quote. Look at that. Now, this is my daily high time frame or micro composite chart, and this little nub right over here is where we're trading right now. Oh, I guess for the folks that aren't around. Yeah, me too. But that's because I get seasick easy. Or green with envy, right? Oh, yeah. Anyway, just for those who are not normal here or not usually here, book map, no indicators, just volume, price, probabilities, POC, VWAP are just functions of price. Blue Boy here is a special member of the family. It's a real expensive indicator called a vertical line, which I just slap on the first print of each session. And I do that for this reason. This is right here, right now. This is the live market. That's the first print. Is there any question in anybody's mind what the context is so far in the ETH? Absolutely cannot be. Right? There's the open. We're just, stair steps up. That's really important that you have in my opinion, it's really important for me to have a firm understanding of the concept for any session I'm trying to trade. Because when you get all zoomed out and zoomed up and all this kind of stuff, what's the context? Where did we come from? Who's on third? I don't know. So that's real important to me. And then when you get ready to trade, of course, you can wind that baby in and get as granular as you want to. Similar idea over here. This is IRT. If you're new around, you can be sure that, yeah, dreams, I love them, don't you? I'm getting ready for the big sleep probably, so I got to be careful about I've got to watch my dream talk over here. I'm too damn old. So, IRT, my basic old charting package, and we've talked about that. Somebody was asking me a question. I think it was Stephen, that I don't really recommend. If you don't use IRT now, I wouldn't recommend getting into it. I would look at something like Sierra Chart or maybe ATAS, or what's the one you were talking about, Magic Dreamweaver or Dream something or another? No, that was a Stevie Nicks song. Sorry. There's a lot of, this is a great program and which was a professional grade thing, but it's single thread. And every day, Magic and those folks that are here, Listen to me bitch and moan about the lags that come in. If I were to trade with IRT now, I couldn't do it because in the mornings, the lags are 60, 50, 60 seconds. Well, you might as well. Yeah, motive wave. There you go. On deep charts. There you are. It's a great program, and I'm used to it. But back to the magic here. This is the micro chart or micro tab. In the header of every one of them is the instrument, the chart type, the periodicity, and the session. These are Renkos. These are session prices. IB high, IB low, VWAPs. That's it. And the mid. Now the yellow boy here is the developing volume profile or volume point of control. And I try to keep the colors consistent in Bookmap. And the red guy up here is the fixed. So these are this is the micro tab. ES, NQ, the micro high composite or composite high time frame. And this is the market profile chart, which is, I don't change between mini and micro. I do change between sessions. So this is the full session, and after we open tomorrow morning, it'll be the RTH. This tab is the minis. Same exact setup, same exact story. The minis. The micros. If you're in the T-Lab, you recognize that. And then this is the program. IRT is where I vet strategies and setups. And so I always trade live, real time in Bookmap, recorded forever and never edited or replayed or anything else. But in IRT, the system does the trading. And so it's in the simulated environment of IRT, because I'm not having this thing that I can barely keep control of be shooting money around to the brokers, I think that's like, talk about risk management. Jesus. Anyway, so that's how it works. Just to, for everybody to be sure and understand that if you see any trades over here, like any of this kind of stuff, or this thing over, any of this crap over here, this is in the simulated environment of IRT. This has not gone out to any brokerage anywhere. But I can forward test, I can back test, and then this is like forward testing. I can also do out of sample testing, which with the back test engine. But because I'm an old cowboy instead of a code wizard, this takes me a long time, and that's why I'm trying to develop the ability to vet setups with Edgeful. And that's pretty much the end of that explanation. I think everybody ought to know what's going on. I hope. I don't want to ever have, obviously if you're in here, ask a question if you don't understand something, but I want to try to make it as lucid and coherent as possible. And the stats, every morning we do the stats. Oh, that's something I should talk about. Bookmap. So the columns of Bookmap are right to left. Micro composite column, which is the data that comes from down here. The full session volume profile. The come on, the high and low volume nodes here, which are also pushed from the micro composite column, the micro composite chart, which is from here. And then this is the full session volume profile, the RTH volume profile and delta, the statistics, which are really important in my view. And we determine the statistical open type and the statistics for the associated session prices every morning before they open. So these have been in here before they open, and they stay there until tomorrow. Session prices, which I push automatically from Bookmap, or 2 bookmap from IRT, and I share with everybody that we talked about already. And I don't use a dome on bookmap anymore because it took up too many columns. But I have the most important columns for a dome, which is the full session, level 2, ask and bid, not full session, full book, sorry, level 2, and the session prices. And then on the chart, it's just price. This is the closing price line. The little balls you see around here, I don't do the whole market, the whole book map thing, all this colory wizardry and all that stuff. I don't do all that stuff. But because it's just, my eyes don't work. But this is just the last price. There's no bid, there's no ask. This is the last price. It's like a line chart. And the lines that you see are just price data. This is the POC. 74.95 was the most contracts traded so far in the session. The minute one of the other prices trades one more contract, that yellow line moves there. That's all there is to it. Keep it simple, stupid. That's that is my mantra. Cool. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by, and every morning at 8 Central Standard Time, this is live until 1500. So if that's of any interest, and if these evenings would prove to be of interest, throw something in the chat, or like, subscribe, of course, and let me know. I'm happy to do it, because normally I'm just kind of roaming around doing my homework, working on vetting trades or something else. But if this could be meaningful and helpful to, it's enjoyable to me. So if it could be helpful to someone else, that would be great. I'd be happy to do that. In the meantime, I'm going to be happy to shut this mess off, and remember that the most important tool in your trading office is sitting on your side of the monitor. And you need to be really aware of that. I start the stream every trading day morning, Perry, at 8 Central Standard Time, and stream the entire day until 1500. That's the cash market, Central Standard. This is unusual, more or less. I haven't usually been doing night streams or Globex streams. I was just trying to determine if there was some interesting opportunities, and I have a commitment to never take a trade off the live stream. So if I were looking tonight and I saw an opportunity, I wouldn't be able to take the trade because I wouldn't be on the stream. Therefore, I'm streaming. That's how it works. Real simple. Anyway, back to the part about the most important thing and tool in your trading office is, and it's really important, make sure that you're well rested, well hydrated, stay fit. And if you don't believe you're the most important piece of equipment you've got, we all spend so much money on monitors and software and mentors and all this stuff. Tomorrow morning before the open, do me a favor. Get all geared up, get all caffeinated, whatever it is you do, get all ready to trade, and then close your eyes for 5 minutes. Tell me how the trading goes for you. Your eyes take in all the data on all your screens, however many of them there is, and however much software you've got. Your brain processes all that data, and you use that information to make financial decisions that affect you and your family. So you need to really pay attention to taking care of yourself. Work-life balance, rest your eyes periodically through the day, stay fit somehow. And I'm the worst at this stuff. Believe me, telling you the truth. But my office is fortunately big enough that I can step back and do like body weight squats while I'm watching the market. And I got a pull-up bar in the window, you know, or in the doorway over there. Stuff like that. You don't have to, you know, go to whatever the gym du jour is anymore. But you've got to do that. It's really important. And we are in a business that's the most competitive, I think, on the planet that I know of. And the people on the other side of our trades are some of the most highly educated, well-paid, super supported young guys and girls. So if you're going to compete in this racket, you better be on your A game. You know, it's like, you don't come out in an old pair of shorts and sloppy Converse and shoot hoops with Michael Jordan, I guess. You know what I mean? Anyway. Yeah, you bet. No problem. I've got a couple of different orb things going on here, and Magic's got a great one that we work on through in the trading day on the RTH session, and this is the data-driven orb, or in the RTH session it would be the initial balance because it's 1 hour. Or meaning opening range breakout. And you can define that anywhere from 30 seconds to an hour, you know. But yeah, absolutely. And welcome. It's it's great to be able to have some, you know, it's great to get some feedback. And I'm very definitely open to and want feedback, you know. And boy, I think you're out of your freaking mind, dude. You know what I mean? That's no problem with that. Absolutely. I don't think anybody could troll me. Probably. I'm too old. I am a troll. You can't troll the king troll, baby. Anyway, have a great night, everybody. It's damn near 9:30 now. 21:30 my time. I'm in Central Standard Time. So remember that. Don't fall prey to this crap about, I can't do this, I can't do that. Oh, it's my psychology. You know, of course you can. Of course you can. You're an adult. Or, you know, if you're old enough to be listening to this and adult enough to be listening to this and thinking about trading, then you are an adult. You don't crap your pants. You don't, you know, get hammered and go driving into a school bus. You're an adult, so you don't overtrade. You have a trade plan. You don't, you know, just sit there clicking the mouse, tell you where the button's off. No, you're an adult. So just remember that. Have a great night. And I am going to shut them down here at this moment. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. It's great. I genuinely really appreciate it. Magic, have a good one. Talk to you tomorrow, man. Perry? Steven? I lost my mouse. Justin, take care of yourself, man. I hope everything's going good on your side. See you all down the pike or in the T Lab or back here or wherever the hell else it is. See you guys later.